Hi, my name is Dr. Brad Roderick, and I'll be the professor for this class. I'm glad that you're with us. I hope that you've already looked around a little bit on the website. If this is your first class, or if you're taking several classes this way, you'll notice that all of the work is listed by week. Every week there will be a forum where you can post. You'll be responding to the material that we're covering, and then there will be 3 separate days of material for you to study. This is not an independent study class, it is an online class. That means you should be following along at the same speed, interacting with other students in the posts that they put in the forum or questions that I'm asking, that it's actually a discussion. As a matter of fact, if you happen to be in the Memphis area and you're taking this class online, but occasionally you are free during class hours, if you ever want to stop by and see the live class, we'll be having it at the same time, so come on in and join us. Be glad to have you to be a part of that and to meet other students who are studying the same material as you at the same time. What I want to do in this video is just briefly introduce myself and introduce the subject and the class that we'll be having so that you'll have a little bit of background on me and the material. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. In the syllabus, you'll find information on how to connect with me. You can make an appointment to either come by if you're here in town or to connect by phone or by Skype. I look forward to working with you as we go together through this class. So first, just a little bit about myself. I was raised in a non-Christian family. Didn't have any church background, church experience. My father was an atheist, and he didn't talk about that a lot. It wasn't something that we discussed. It just was a void in our life. Sundays was for going to the lake and water skiing. Didn't have anything to do with church. When I was 17, my parents divorced and moved out, and that left me with a lot of questions. And through exploring what it meant to be a follower of Christ through information friends had given me and being invited to church, I ended up becoming a follower of Christ and sensed that God was calling me into missions sometime in person. Maybe I'll share the rest of that story. I'd love to hear your story of how you came to be a follower of Christ. But I found myself, after I graduated from college and seminary, preparing to be a missionary, but I didn't know what that meant. The only thing I knew that you could do that was ministry was to either be a youth leader or a pastor. So I thought, well, maybe I'd go work with youth overseas. That's what it meant to be a missionary. But one day while I was in school, I came out of class and I saw there was a bulletin board notice that said, plant a church this summer. And I thought, you plant churches? I thought churches just always existed. And so I got involved in a Praxis program, which was practical church planting experience for the summer. And I knew that was what God wanted me to do with my life, was to plant churches and help other people plant churches. So went to Orlando and planted a church in the Orlando area, came back, finished seminary. When I graduated, I moved to Massachusetts as a church planter, planted a church there. And while I was there, I met my wife, who also had been called into missions. We then went back to New Orleans Seminary, where I got my doctoral degree. Worked in a mission church setting there in Louisiana. And then went back up to Massachusetts and worked for a while with the Massachusetts Baptist Association as a church planting coordinator. Then we were working with the Baptist State Convention of Pennsylvania and South Jersey as church planter coordinators for the state convention, New Church Extension. During that time, we had 2 children, Joshua and Caleb. And then we were appointed to serve with the International Mission Board in South Asia, where we went to work as church planters among a Muslim people group. Over time, we started in the city of Hyderabad, then we moved to Bangalore, and then we moved to Ahmedabad. And during that time, we started working with the Muslims who lived in 1 city, and then in 3 states, and then the Muslims that were in India, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives. Following that, we were transferred to Indonesia, where we had opportunity to serve for 6 years. Again, we were working on 1 small island and then in a state, and then we ended up working to coordinate the work of the International Mission Board among Muslim peoples in all of Southeast Asia. That was a wonderful experience, but after 6 years, the Lord led us back to South Asia, and we spent our last 7 years on the field living in New Delhi, but working throughout South Asia, making sure that anyone anywhere in the world who wanted to share the gospel with a South Asian, wanted to pray for South Asians, make disciples of South Asians, or plant a church among South Asians, had the resources that they needed to be able to do the work that God had called them to do. After we had been over 19 years with the International Mission Board, there was a call for 1,000 people to leave the field and return to the United States. We accepted that call. Gretchen and I felt like God was leading us to come back to the States at that time and continue the same work, which was basically helping followers of Jesus know how to pray, share the gospel, make disciples, teach leaders, and start churches. So that's what we're doing here, and that's what we're doing here at the Mid-America Baptist Theological Seminary. Our oldest son, Joshua, is married to Lexi, and they have 2 beautiful children. Jude and Sophia. Our youngest son, Caleb, has just graduated from college and is teaching English in high school in Florida. So that's a little bit about us. After you finish watching this video, you'll have opportunity to go online and share a little bit about yourself so that the rest of the class will know a little bit more about who they're studying with and where your background is as you share answers and questions as we go forward. Feel free to contact me. Thanks and God bless.